How you doing, everybody? Hope this finds you well. Well, today is Friday, and I'm going to go back to Genesis. I think I'm just going to keep going through Abraham's sojourn as we do these Friday podcasts or these Friday journals. Abraham is in the land. We've seen him in chapter 14 now, chapter 15, and now we come to Genesis chapter 16. And it's an interesting chapter, and there's a lot that's wrong in this chapter. A lot that's wrong in this chapter. We have Sarah's guilt, her sin, Abraham's complicity and duplicity in this chapter. We have Hagar's despising of her mistress because she's pregnant with Abraham's child. I mean, there's just a lot wrong here. This is not a healthy family scenario. Hagar should never have been brought in like this, but she was, and this is the patriarch, and he has a promise. And so now we see this promise extending to Hagar as she runs away from her mistress in verse 6. Abraham tells Sarah goes and complains to Abraham about the arrogance of Hagar, and then Abraham says, "She's in your hand, do what you want," which of course is not what Abraham should have said. But Sarah mistreats her, and then in verse 7, she runs away. The angel of the Lord finds her in the wilderness, and he says to her, "What are you doing here? How come you're out here? Whence camest thou? Whither wilt thou go?" And she said, "I flee from the face of my mistress Sarai." Now, she's run off because it's gotten really bad, and Sarah's mistreated her. And the angel asks a question, "Why are you here?" Well, he knows why she's there. He knows exactly why she's there. Where'd you come from, and where do you think you're going? He knows all that too, but he wants Hagar to say it so that she can hear exactly what she's saying to the angel. And she complains about the mistreatment, and then it says there in verse 9, the angel of the Lord said to her, "Return to thy mistress and submit thyself under her hands." We don't like that word. We do not like that word, do we? Submit yourself under her hands. No, we're like the little boy that told his mom, "You ain't the boss of me," right? We want to be our own boss. We want to make our own decisions. We think we're the smartest cat in the room. So, by golly, we can figure this out by ourselves. We don't need you to tell me what to do. And he tells her, you go back and you submit. This is not something that I'm sure sat well with Hagar, but you notice what she does in verse 10. It says that, he gives her a promise, and then she goes back and she submits herself to Sarah, and she has the child, and the child grows up. She's in that home for another 12 or 13 years, 14 years, maybe longer than that, with the boy Ishmael growing up under Abraham's care, which is, of course, what the angel and the Lord wanted. So the message for us, I think, is during difficult times, we need to find out if it's okay for us to submit ourselves. We don't usually like that word. We don't want to submit ourselves, especially when it's difficult and it doesn't please the flesh. We don't want to pinch the flesh at all. And that's exactly what the angel told Hagar to do. Pinch the flesh, pinch the pride, and go back and do what she says. Submit yourself to your mistress. The Lord was going to be with Hagar and with Ishmael, and she couldn't see that yet, but it was coming, and he was going to become a great nation, and he has. And so the promise has been fulfilled. Sometimes in the small beginnings, we have to pinch the flesh and submit to things that we don't want to, that aren't pleasing to us. But what they create in us is something greater than what we can see. All right, well, I hope that helps today. I know we're all feeling like we're pinching the flesh during this very interesting time. So I hope this finds you well. I love you guys. I miss you. I'll see you soon. Bye.